a perfect mother. Is there any such thing? As a mother of 7 and also a biblical counselor, consultant, guide, advisor to many mothers who are juggling things, whether it's at home life or multiple careers and callings, I have not yet encountered someone that would classify themselves as a perfect mother. So I'm really excited to get into this subject because today I am holding a book entitled Chronicles of the Imperfectly Perfect Mother, Petals of Love. So we are talking to Dr. Tiesha Bryant and my sister in the ministry, my sister in Christ, my friend of many, many years, Dr. Lashonda Williams Lynard. And I'm like, that's a mouthful because God blessed her with that second name. Hallelujah. I got churchy on y'all real quick. So we are talking about this book. So Dr. Bryant, this was your idea.
Yes.
And I want to call you Dr. Shalonda.
Just call me what you call me.
Right. Dr. Lynard. You did the foreword. I had the privilege of writing a chapter. So we are here to talk about this book and to talk about motherhood. But I just want to go back to this imperfectly perfect thing. Can we talk about that first?
Yeah, we can.
So first of all, how would you define an imperfectly perfect mother?
So for starters, the word imperfect, it says I'm perfect. So we have to know that in our own right, we're perfect just the way we are. So regardless of the flaws that people may see or the ones you may see, own your stuff. So to me, that's defining the imperfectly perfect because we're all perfect in God's eyes.
Wow.
Because we are created uniquely by Him. So He don't make mistakes.
No
How
mistakes.
can we be imperfect?
Yeah.
We are perfect. And the journey of motherhood is just one of those things where you get to see everything. You get to see all your stuff. So
big sigh there, but yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that.
That perspective is that, you have that imperfect look as we defined it from the perspective of the other individual, which would then be our children. To them, we may be imperfect and not what they need, but in actuality, it's always according to God's plan. So therefore, we're not ill fit to parent them. We're just who we are. And everything that we do that they may think is imperfect builds them for that level until they get to that next point of, now it's time for me to go find another thing.
Right.
It's a journey, right? So imperfectly perfect means I may not be what you think is perfection. But everything that I am in this journey, you learn how to do it unapologetically. And then just settle into the fact that it was always just meant to be what it was meant to be.
Absolutely.
This feels like a therapy session already. And I love it. Because, we've all got children, right?
Yes.
And like it was said, you're gonna find out, in my words, everything about yourself that you don't perceive as perfect. But what I'm really hearing is it's all about the perception of perfection.
Right.
So we have this perception of what good motherhood looks like. When I first became a mother, I had this idea of what I thought it would look like to be a perfect mother. And the Lord, I tried. I tried. I tried to be patient, enduring, and just do everything to the very best of my ability. And I was so sure that if I could just dot every I and cross every T, that all my children would grow up perfect, there would be no issues, and we got this. And it didn't work out like that.
According to your perception.
It did. Well, my perception.
Because of the idea of what was painted as perfection for us. And I think that ultimately that is what is being said. Because at some point, our children, if they so choose, will also be parents. And eventually they'll get to look at, okay, so I hated this about it, I hated this about it, Now they have to experience, but that's not different for us with our parents. Even if we thought they were not. We were having this conversation, a part of certain therapy sessions and other counseling sessions is, hey, go back and mother your
inner child,
which is not a bad thing if you do it in a balanced way, but we wouldn't. We would go back and do all the fluffy stuff, all the stuff we thought we missed, and she should spend more time, he should spend more time. You're trading one for the other. I think for me, I said I would rather my kids know that they had their mom than to be one of the ones who didn't have a mother because I'm so imperfect, right?
Wow.
You know the story, but I was undiagnosed for years parenting, right? And to me, love was keep your kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My siblings, all of us I went to live with my sister. My mom lived with her grandma. My sister lived with her grandma. Everybody went someplace else. But at school, the kids are talking about what they don't have. So let me make sure they have what I feel they do need, right?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? Well, she's here, but she's not doing this. I don't get this. We don't have enough of that. We don't have enough of this. And so you give them what you can.
Yeah.
And you pray that it works. But that puts us in a very humble position of saying, you know, I
Yeah.
thought my mama was imperfect too. She didn't give me
Yeah.
everything I thought I was supposed to have either.
Yeah.
Until God does this thing and you begin to really search, like,
Yeah.
dang, you
There's
know what I
method
mean?
to the madness.
It is.
Yeah,
It
there
is.
is.
How
Yeah.
do you then really find out the things that you are great at, except for when you start bucking what mama say you at. You know what I mean?
That
Like,
part.
I don't wanna, and then you eventually, you got to work through the process
Yeah.
yourself. So yeah, we can call whatever we want imperfections. We want to go back and mother our inner child and make it all fluffy and wonderful. But yeah, if she wasn't that person, would you have found out that you could be this person?
Right.
Or develop
You
that
know.
skill
To your
set.
own thing, right? So that's just like with the, petals of love. When even on the cover of the book is a lotus, and that's how I imagine motherhood, because a lot of times we're in the water, right?
Yeah.
We're in the mud. And a lot of
Yeah.
things, it's dirty. It can get grimy, but it still blossoms
Yes.
into something so beautiful.
Wow.
So
I
here's
did not
the
know
name.
that about
Yeah.
a lotus. So you
Yes,
just,
it's-
I
yep,
feel
it's-
a rabbit hole on Google coming on after the show.
So yes, like and I mean
Rabbit hole.
that's what motherhood looks like. Like
I
it can
love
get
that.
messy. It's,
Yeah.
and a lot of us get it out the mud, and that
Yeah.
mud looks different for everybody. Somebody mud may be
Yeah.
clay, somebody may be white dirt, somebody may
That's
be
good.
black. But that soil, that water,
Yeah.
the seeds that were sown, they have to do something.
Yeah.
So with motherhood, it blossoms, and our petals, they are babies.
Yeah.
Right? So, and it looks beautiful. So if you
Right.
ever just saw a pond of nothing but lotuses, it is a beautiful view.
Wow.
But
But that
nobody really knows
beginning,
what's
where
happening
it went
underneath
through,
there.
listen,
But
the
that-
process.
Not knowing the process also, and not owning the process.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because again, you talked about it being on top of the water, but what's happening beneath that
underneath
water?
it.
What's
Yeah.
happening in that dirt? Is
Yeah.
it not all strategic?
Right.
What we see as the awful chaos, is that not a part of how God made the system to work?
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
even when we don't think that it's something that's great, what's happening underneath
Up
that,
under
it
that
gets
We
to
don't know
grow
how
into be
God's
that.
working
Yeah,
it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we do know how, we just don't understand. To understand God is to understand that everything belongs to God. There's nothing that does not work in His plan, even the dirt. So when
Yeah.
you start thinking about what's in that dirt and, oh, this feels so off and it's so nasty, and I don't want to
Right.
touch it, right? Well, it's because of what's in the dirt.
Right.
Like, you have farmers or people who raise cows, and the cow manure ends up being the very thing they use to
Yep.
grow this
Right.
beautiful green grass and soils, right? I mean, different
Yeah.
soils. It's all within it. All things work together. There's no
Yeah.
separating it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So we may look at it and be like, oh, this is really awful, but there's such beauty in the chaos.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even in
Right.
the darkness.
Absolutely.
Because you got to think about it, a lot of times in the dark, like we can't see underneath,
Yeah.
but so much greatness is happening.
Yeah.
So even in life, when you feel like I'm in this dark place, we have to give ourselves grace to know that we have to be, as T-Mommy call it, the cave. This is my T-Mommy title. I call it. So sometimes we have to be in that cave, and that cave can look dark.
Yeah.
But on that other side, once
Yeah.
we actually appreciate the darkness, we can just enjoy the light.
Yeah, because something's being cultivated
Absolutely.
in that
Every
space.
time.
So ultimately, what I'm hearing both of you say is just, in my own words, there's strategy even to the struggles that we face as
Yes.
mothers. And one thought that's coming to my mind is comparison. One of the things that we do that causes us to start saying,
Child.
I'm a good mom or a bad mom or
Yeah.
this kind of mom. Even our children, you know, I
Uh-huh.
think that my children sometimes would look at television programs and what parenting looked like on, this channel or that channel,
Yeah.
and I would say that's television. These people are getting paid, and they have perfect
Yes.
homes and perfect clothes, and they have snacks as soon as they get home from school. I was like, most everyday,
That ain't it.
average, if there's any such thing as an average family, that's not what it looks like. And so,
that was a good
but yet
statement.
and still, there is something that's beautiful. Like, I was raised by a single mother, and she did work very hard, but one of the things she couldn't give was that constant presence. There were times in my life, because I was a chronically ill child, she had to, and there were times she was at work, and so I got into things I probably shouldn't have got into, but there was, and I had to learn some independence in certain areas when I became a teenager. But I always say, if I had not grown up with the mother that I grew up with and saw the grace on her life to deal with certain things, and the grit, because she worked very hard, and I mean multiple jobs. Sometimes she was a singer, and she still is now. She would go and sing, and then she'd go clean houses and take me to both. And I saw her in her purpose. Then I also saw her literally put on rubber gloves and clean somebody's toilet so she could fulfill her purpose. So I ended up in a different purpose, but there was a grit and a willingness to say, I can take this outfit off, and then I can go do something totally different to support that. So I had to deal with, in my personal life, raising 7 kids alone after a divorce. There are times that I felt like I had to do the gritty part, go to social services. There was times I had to get the food stamps. And there's other times, because I've been in ministry so long, I was celebrated, put on platforms, given towels with my name embroidered on them, and then I had to go put that aside and then go back and deal with who's going to give us furniture, what ministry is going to help us with this next move, because I can't afford this. And so I look back and I thought, my mother gracefully did her purpose and did the hard part. And so if I hadn't had that example, and I also saw her grow from Section 8 to renting to owning, and I watched her go through that, and I thought, man, my mom's a boss. Like, no, she couldn't be there all the time. And I'm sure there's times she struggled with feeling like, well, we didn't know. We didn't always have the best clothes. Sometimes we had hand-me-downs. Sometimes we had the thrift store. I remember going to the thrift store to buy a nice dress to go to an opera with one of her very wealthy friends. Invited us to. So I had this kind of vacillation between poverty, financial poverty, and financial prosperity.
Whichever state.
And so I got what I needed. With my children, I had to do a lot of those same things, the grit and the grace, and sometimes they felt like, well, we don't have clothes like the other kids are. Now they're almost all grown, but we don't have clothes like this one, and we don't go on vacation like this one, and it would make me feel so bad about myself. But listening to y'all, it's like, okay, but even in that, who knows what that is cultivating, the grit that it could be cultivating or could have cultivated in my children. So I can see an immediate application to what you're saying. So in your own lives, have you ever struggled, though, prior to this clearly very strong space you're both in, with feeling inadequate or feeling like the chaos didn't have purpose? Like, did you go through that too?
Did I go through it? Baby, I was 13.
Tell us a little bit about that.
I was 13 and pregnant. That itself was chaotic. That itself was That itself was one of those, what is happening? Like, how do I function? How do I continue life? How do I even show up? How do I still be a kid? How do I raise a kid? So it was so much chaos mentally, but the showing up, I had a support system. My village, they were deep.
Good.
Like, and I'm talking about my mom. So I'm gonna share this. My mom, when I told her I was pregnant, it was over the phone. She was at work. We lived in Pittsview, Alabama, which is the country part. She worked in Columbus, Georgia. So that's roughly about a 35, 40 minutes drive, normal. Well, my grandmother passed that same day, my paternal grandmother.
Oh.
Right, yeah, so it was a thing. They called my mom and told her, hey, you know, Doris just passed. My mom got from Columbus to Pittsview in about 20, 25 minutes flat with the pregnancy test. How this happened, I don't know, but she had that pregnancy test, okay? So
mothers can be
listen, I don't know. She had it for herself, hidden, I don't know, but
it was there. It showed up.
It was there, you hear me? And when I took the pregnancy test and it was positive, I recall looking at her look at me, and I could feel the break.
Yeah.
Like, I can feel her, everything just break.
Yeah.
But with tears in her eyes, she looked at me and she was like, Nikki, you're not the first one, you won't be the last. Mama got your back. And
go, Mom.
Listen, my mama is the bomb.com. So in that moment, the little girl who was just like, my life is over.
Wow.
She began to live again. And within 10 minutes, all of my maternal aunts were there. and they all gave me the similar story. And so that whole teen pregnancy thing, even though in my mind initial it was chaotic and a whole bunch of fear, it turned out to be something so beautiful because of the support, because of the love.
Love, yeah.
And the interesting part is I used to always say, I wish I could just be half the woman that my mom was. That was my thing. So for my mom to raise 3 girls, help raise 4 grandkids, and she didn't have a mother. My mom died when she was 7. So for a woman to do that, I've seen the grit. I've seen her work multiple jobs. I've seen her still show up, dance at the game, watching, dance. So I was still on the dance team. She allowed me to still be a teenager, but she also reminded me that this your baby, not mine.
She a balance.
Listen,
right?
it was a good balance. So learning to balance that with a woman of that magnitude, I was destined for greatness. I had no choice in the matter, And I know earlier you was talking about, your yes. We have a choice, but for me, success, and I'm not even talking monetary success, just success in general, I didn't have a choice. Even though it's like, well, Tiesha, you did. No, I didn't. Because my thing was I would never disappoint my parents again. Because I felt like that was the ultimate disappointment. I was a church girl, straight A student, nerd, like all those things. And it was just like, that heartbreak, listen, that was like, it was like a death happening type ordeal. It was like, and I was just like, oh man, like, I can't do that again. So I've learned over the years with such a great spiritual advisor.
Talking about T-Mama again.
Yes.
I'm just sitting here chilling. I'm Sophia in it right now.
I was like, where did T come from? But then I remember Shalonda T.
Auntie Mommy.
Auntie.
Yeah. So
I'm trying to put stuff together. Don't fit. Okay, please continue.
Yes. So she told me that a lot of people, when things happen, they become addicted to everything else. My addiction and the way I coped was, I gotta get it. I gotta make it happen. So that was my thing. That was my vice, per se, was succeeding, was getting to the next level. And now I do things because I want to.
Just because I can.
Like, I can. And it's not, even though, little pieces like that, I'm gonna make my people proud. I'm gonna make sure I take, my people with me, but that's not the sole purpose.
Right.
And knowing that I have a little girl, so I needed.
How old is
You said what? You got a what? Oh, you got a who girl?
I have a little girl.
Please put some respect on her right now. She is not a little girl.
She will always be my little girl. My baby will be 20 next month.
Right, you see what I'm saying?
I still call my youngest my baby. They're all my babies. Even my 6 foot, 3 sons. I'm like, that's my baby boy. They're like, okay.
Yeah, so, I'm going to keep that visual. Okay, that's my baby girl. But it was knowing that I needed to make sure she had a real model and not a role model. So I saw the real, and even though some things I attempted to protect her to, she's a seer, so she actually see through me a lot, and she sees stuff that I don't be wanting her to see. And I was like, I got to get it together. But what is getting it together?
What is that?
That imperfectly perfect portion.
And then I'm at when you come from an understanding that God is already everything, you don't have to debate whether God is in it or not.
Right.
And I think that's when, once you start growing and you start, realizing that, hey, I am adequate, and I'm adequate simply because he says I am. That's it. I'm adequate because he says I am. This journey is literally about discovering that. That you're already everything that God said you are. You're just growing into it. So when it comes to feeling inadequate from this perspective, she had to learn I'm adequate whether I hustle, whether I grind, whether I not. Not that it's not okay to do it, but am I doing it because I'm just trying to heal the trauma or the pain, or am I doing it because I feel like I need to prove myself to somebody? Well, you come into this space of I am. You're not. God is not anything other than everything that exists. And so when you think from an omnipresent perspective, okay, God, I understand differently now that this whole journey for me is to know I'm adequate. Know it before I live it. You can't have it unless you can see it. We learn about faith our whole journey of faith is being fully convinced of something, and anything not done in faith is sin. So therefore, if I don't know that I am adequate, I can never have adequacy. And it doesn't mean that other people don't think you are. How often do we talk and have talked over the years about how I see you, what I think about you as a person, but then we can turn around and 2 seconds later you be like, girl, and then this, and I'll be like, oh, you're right, you're absolutely right. Because whatever you say about it is whatever is true. And I had to learn that growing through feeling inadequate, because you want to question everything about yourself. I have, you got 7, I have 6 biological kids. I got my bonus kids, and everybody's different. Right? So what this person needs from me, this person doesn't. So me trying to be this one-size-fit-all mom is going to make me look really imperfect. Absolutely.
It's definitely impossible.
Right? So you have to learn that I'm already enough. And that is a hard journey when your mental is your everyday battle. It's not because they didn't need to say some of the stuff they said because they were out of line, or because they needed to say some of that stuff so that we can come face to face with some of that stuff ourselves. And so we have to first learn we are adequate so that we can show them that they are adequate. And I think a part of the problem with showing them that they're adequate is that we're the ones holding on to our idea of what perfect is too. So then we become judgmental of their journey.
Judgmental.
Exactly. Judgmental of the judgmental. So, because that was my prayer. My Lord, please don't let me be judgmental of the judgmental. Because we all have to go through the process of uncovering that. So me feeling inadequate had to be solved. It's still being solved. Can I be honest and very transparent?
We want to be honest over here.
It's still being solved to where I do have to now say to my children, I love y'all, but I don't have any more apologies. You know what I mean? What I had, I did the best I could. I love you. Hopefully, because if we continue in the same pattern, they're off living their life and doing what they're doing, having some of the same battles, wrestling with being inadequate. But why are some of them feeling inadequate? Well, because my mama feel like in order for me to do this, I got to do this. Or my mama feels like, but that's totally opposite of their whole personality. And we training them in the way they should go, that's not a one size fit all. That is what's in you. How are you going to get there? So then here comes the struggles, here come the headbutt. And we were talking about this too, right? About technically, she was a teen mom in the West, but in another country, she would have been A-okay and ready to be an adult, because that's what the way God made us. We are made to be adults at that age. So what happens? We start bumping heads at teenage years. When does the struggle really happen?
Teenage years.
Teenage years, because you got 2 people now fighting for an authority position, authority over their life. And only they can have it. Only we could have it. So what we do, we started journeying along, trying to find out the answers on our own. And so in order for me to really show up and be the fullness of who I am, and to break the curse from them feeling the same, is for me to first find the adequacy first. And so Lashonda, with all the podcast episodes, however many books done been published, best-selling author, preacher, teacher, walking in fivefold ministry giftings, we doing all this stuff just to still feel like we not enough. How do we think they're gonna feel watching us do it? So being a real model means, baby, you about to see me flaws and all. I know you gonna watch me come up. I can't lie to you and pretend like I'm okay today, because I'm not. You know what I mean? So when we start doing all of that and really owning the truth of this thing, find the adequacy first, then become it, because that's how it's gonna have to walk. I'm adequate. God, you made me fearfully. You made me with respect, and I'm still questioning whether I'm good enough. So absolutely feelings of inadequacy every day. Still feeling like I just wasn't enough. Even now, well, you're not doing enough. Well, should you be here? Should you be this? When do I start doing everything that God said for me to do? In my adequacy, because that's what's going to make me feel adequate. Does that make sense?
It does.
I won't feel adequate until I'm fully me.
That's it. And a lot of mothers, since we were talking about moms, a lot of mothers, they don't know you know, different things, especially things like you just spoke of as far as being inadequate. They feel
Right.
like, you know, I'm in this space, I'm alone, nobody journey looks like mine. Granted, we
Right.
all, you know, we all have our own thing,
Yeah.
but each of us can relate to something about motherhood.
Right.
Yes, I'm a teen mom. Somebody else may be a teen mom, but their journey can look totally different.
Right.
Absolutely.
You know, there may be another mom who had, you know, 7,
Right.
6. I mean, I am a bonus mom, even though my son passed last year at 18. So all of those things is like everybody has a journey. So with this book, Petals of Love, there are so many different mothers who's able to share their story,
Yeah.
Right.
you know, to be help one to another.
Right.
Because we don't know it all.
We don't
I mean,
know it
come on
all.
now. You know,
No.
as a mother, even as an individual, we don't know it all. And I think that's one of the imperfections as parents. We think we know it all, and we don't want to
That's so good.
apologize
That's
because,
good.
baby, you're wrong, sis. Just say, baby, I'm sorry.
Right.
Mama messed up, daddy messed up. I'm gonna do better. And your feelings are valid, regardless of the age, because at the end of the day, our babies are humans too.
Right.
But a lot of it come from, we talked about that unhealed trauma, that inner
unhealed
child.
trauma.
But
Yeah.
that's literally like a part of it. Until as parents we're able to heal,
Right.
then our kids are not going to fully live because
Right.
they see the inadequacy. And it's like, well, if she's inadequate, then maybe I'm supposed to be inadequate too.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm still holding on, if she's still holding on to what mama them did, then when I get grown, I'm gonna hold on to what she
Yeah.
did to me too. And the cycle just continues.
Yeah.
Oh, and they'll call you on that, actually.
Yeah.
Yes.
They will, because especially if they hear you talk about your traumas and your
Oh,
pain,
yes.
or the stuff you went through.
You did
growing
the
up.
same thing.
Or they'll say, but you said that grandma did this, and this, and you doing the same thing to me. And instead of us knowing that that's a God moment,
Oh yeah.
because everything about this walk is introspection first.
Right.
So instead of us being able to pause and say that's a God moment,
Right.
God just kind of put me on pause for a minute. Because you're right, I did do that same thing. I did just complain about this thing, and I wish that this
Yeah.
was healed and all that stuff. And so they're like, but mama, you know what?
You're right.
Yeah.
My
Because
bad.
it's a learned behavior,
Yes.
and I gotta unlearn this behavior. And now you get to see me take accountability for my stuff
Right.
too, so that you in turn will know how to do that when you get to that place. But it's gonna
Right.
take time.
Yes, that's that real model.
That's
Yeah.
that real
That's that real model.
Well, we just have about a minute or two left, and I think this is a great conversation. One thing I'll say in closing is that we will learn one way or another that none of us, from the children to the most seemingly perfect standard of appearance,
Right.
is able to measure up to the perfection of our God. And so
Absolutely.
one thing I've taught my children is that my job is to make you as self-sufficient as possible in natural matters and as God-dependent as possible in every other matter. I am not your savior. And I would tell my kids, you need Jesus like the rest of us, honey. Like,
Okay.
we all need God.
That
And I think
example.
it's important because the only way we can even align, because perfection is really not my goal, but alignment with the purpose of God. I think if we encourage our children to put their eyes on God, what is the purpose for my life? What do I need to learn? What skills do I need to have for that? And as a parent, I play the best role I can play, and then knowing that sometimes it takes a village.
Yes,
Sometimes there's an
absolutely.
auntie, a sister, a friend, a father figure that can come
can
in.
make better, yeah.
Sometimes there are organizations. One thing I've
Yes.
learned, it took me a while, when your child struggles in a certain area, you don't have to be
strength of
superwoman
it,
to be
yeah.
the one to be everything. I was the
Listen.
homeschool teacher, the counselor, sometimes the pastor of my own children, because we were in between another congregation or something of that nature. But learning that sometimes you need to bring outside people in and take all of that pressure off yourself to be everything to all your children. And I taught my kids, even to the point where I felt guilty about it sometimes, I can't be everything to you. You have to learn
Yeah.
to depend on God. And I think that's the most important thing that we can do is show up. We're adequate in our assignment.
Yes.
And also encouraging our kids to listen. There, you over here, I showed up, I gave my kids the gift of time. Like, I'm always home. I worked from home for many,
Yeah.
many years. But no, I didn't always give you the perfect tennis shoes and all the
Yeah.
outfits. But when you grow up, you're never going to say, I don't know where my mother was. Where other mothers, they might have been able to give the gifts of vacations and
Yeah.
nice clothes and all
Yeah.
that. that was her gift.
And
maybe
they
you
had no
needed some.
presence.
There
Yeah.
is no, everybody's purpose and blueprint from heaven is different. So we just have to show up in the capacity we can and do our best to surrender to God. So we only have a few
Absolutely.
seconds left. Please tell us how we can get in touch with both of you, so that those that want to talk more about this, I know you have
Yes.
coaching programs, and then how to get this book.
Absolutely. So again, I am Tiesha, Dr. Tiesha M. Bryant. Dr. Tiesha M. Bryant. So the book is available on my website. You can find it there. You can find information about myself, all of the authors that's available. www.tieshambryan.com. And oh yeah, I love y'all because I can, and there's nothing you can do about it.
That's somewhere before.
Yes. And then
Absolutely. I am Dr. Lashonda Treasure, and when you find me on social media, just look for Inspirational Treasure.
With the N.
With the N, girl. Leave the I for the front of that, you know what I'm saying? Because we're
Yes.
original.
That's
and so
that
you can
part.
find me there. All books, all contact information, how to book coaching sessions, inspired insight sessions. Find me at Inspirational Treasure.
All right, you can
Yes.
go to drsarahgrace.com for more, and we will see you next time.